Okay. Well, there are two things that I'm going to address. First of all, the name change. It is now Morris Interactive Philatelic Index. It used to be something completely different as Philatelic Resources and something complex, but it wasn't memorable. I will give you an update, but the update will be more of teaching how to set up all the things correctly. And I will talk about the Zotero Philatelic repository, which is a predecessor for a global philatelic repository where all digital resources could be stored for any country, for any nation, journals, books, everything. Well, I already told you the new name. Why I'm doing this update is because there are too few members that are member of the Morris Interactive Philatelic Index, just 9. And there's very little use. And those people that use it in a way that isn't ideal. You will not get as many hits or as good a use if you set up and install Zotero correctly. And that means you have a personal installation, an account at Zotero, and synchronize everything. And then you will also be able to synchronize to Morris Index. And I will show you how big the differences are between just the open access online program and if you have a personalized synchronized version. And the differences are huge. Well, there are some very good videos that you can use on how to install and how to use Zotero, including the Zotero connector. The Zotero connector enables you to download things from the internet. For instance, if you would go to the worldcup.org, which is a library, global library, and you would find a resource there, you could directly insert it into your own library or in a group library if you have access. And there are a few others that give you anything you want to know about Zotero as a reference manager. Well, if you go to Zotero, you will get the screen download, and you could download Zotero 7 for Windows at the moment. That's the newest version. And at the other side, you can see Zotero connector. And you have to download the Zotero connector for any browser that you are using. You are seeing here that it would install Edge connector, but you can also have a Firefox connector. That all depends on where you are when you are downloading Zotero. If you are in a certain web browser, it will give you the ability to download that Zotero connector. But you can also open different programs and open the Zotero connector. And then you can download from any program that you like or any browser that you like, and you can import the data. Now, if you go to Zotero, you need to make an account. You need to have a login and a password. I can't show it to you because I already have one, so it will automatically open my account. But if you do so, and you have a personal installation, which you've done prior, you can do this and make an account. And if you, in the next step, register and confirm, you need to understand and keep alert on your username and your password, because that's one thing you will be needing if you try to synchronize between your personal installation and the account on Zotero. And if that is done, then everything that you have as a personal account, as a personal library, will be stored at Zotero itself. So if your computer crashes, there will always be a copy for anything that you do. So my account and my group, my Morris Interactive Philatelic Index, is stored at Zotero, and it will remain there until I, delete the Zotero account. But as long as I don't, everyone can get access to it because my group is an open access account. So here you need to register, and if you have registered, then you go to your personal installation, and here you see my username. I can only unlink my account. You go there by going to edit, and then you go to options, and you can get access. And if you put in your name here, then it will automatically synchronize between Zotero online and your personal account. That still doesn't give you access. And there are a few things that I do for the settings, also under options, because you see general synchronization. That's where you install the account. And I automatically disable all these settings because if you download information from, for instance, wordcat.org, then it will download all the keywords that are supposed to be there. But that can be in French, Italian, German, Russian, whatever. And that's not what you want. You want to have one uniform set of keywords. Somebody asked me why, if I would translate to French or German or Italian. That's a little bit problematic. I have 3,000 keywords in total that I use. About 1,500 of them are for countries and areas and locations. And a few hundred are for really philatelic purposes, like proofs or cover or cancels. And then you have a lot of companies like Skadata and Pan American Airlines, and also the routes of different airlines, as FAM 05, FAM 06. I include all those passwords because you need those passwords to get an accurate search. And that search is important, very important. Well, if you have done all the synchronization, then you still have to go and find my group. You can go to the tab groups in Zotero and then say search for groups. Search for groups. If you search on my name, you will automatically see the Morris index. This is the screen you get, and if you click on this link, it will open up a screen, which I can't do because I'm already a member. But I show you another member, and it shows you a little icon, join. And if you click on that, when you are in Morris Interactive Philatelic Index, you are automatically a member. And the next time you start up your personal Zotero, you'll get a group, a group in Zotero, and it will synchronize with all the information I collected. And if I collect more information, which I will, because at the moment I'm at 11,000 references, but I didn't include the Peru journals, Ecuador journals, Chile journals, and they have to be included as well. And last week I bought the Revista from Argentina, and those will be included as well. They will not be downloadable, others will. And then you will see, normally you will see a personal My Library. That's where you store your information. That can be anything that you want. You can create your own references. And you see Morris Library. That's the one you will get. If you want to, you could also get the other one, the Philatelistenvereniging Groningen. That's the library of my local society. It is also open access, but the keywords are in Dutch, so not accessible for most of the people. And you cannot borrow books from the library where we are staying. Now, I'm going to shut this off, and now I'm going to the internet. Nice. This is what you see online. If you go to the link that most people use, this is what you see online. However, if I go here, and you can see that you can only search in title, creator, year, and full text. And that is all the information at the right of your screen. I can click anywhere and you will be able to see this. And I will show you what happens if I ask for Saudi forgeries. I only get 2 hits. That's not much. I will do the same hits in the personalized version. If I now click on book review, I will get 300 links, but there are no book reviews visible. You see no book reviews. And I will show you the difference when I start going to my personalized installation. That's where I'm going now. Um, it is now standing at the society's link because I want to show you if you go to your Morris Philatelic index, it needs to build up. It needs to synchronize with the background at Zotero. And that can take some time because if I include several hundreds of new references, then you might have to wait until it will synchronize everything that I have. And now I will do the same search. And you can see that I got 58 hits instead of 2. Why? Because I search everything. And it means that I not only search in the text, but I also search in the 3,000 keywords that I have. That's why there is a lot of difference. If I now go to one of the information and go to tags, because they are called tags, you can see forgery, heir apparent, Saudi Arabia, UPU. Those are the 4 that I gave to this reference. But there are references that have 400 keywords, usually catalogs. For instance, I also indexed the Scott catalogs and the Hiver Classic and the Scott Classic. And there are many countries, so you need several hundreds of keywords just to include those. And now I will go to the other one. I will ask for book reviews. Something strange happens. You see that a lot of links and you see a marking before it. I will close it down. Normally you will see it like this. You will see that there is an arrowhead before the reference. And if you click on the reference now, you can see, hey, well, there is a book review. And you can see all the book reviews that are included. And sometimes I will have 5 or 6 references, and you can maybe find one that you want. And a lot of journals are open access, and you can find a review that might give you an idea whether or not you want to buy the book. And as books are very expensive at the moment, you might want to know whether or not it will be worthwhile to buy a book. So you can see that there are a lot of things you can do. Now I will go to when you have selected something or when you have a review, there are a lot of things you can do. You can sort by title or sort inverted by creator, if you know which one created a book or reference. And you can also do by year. This one I got recently. It's only got 1 review. It has 8 or 9 keywords, but I also include an abstract. And if you search through the index, it will search through the indexes as well. And there can be a lot of information because this is almost one page of information that will be searched through if you are searching. And that's a main difference between a personalized installation and searching online. You will get much more hits, and you can make much more complex searches as well. This is a normal one with just 2 keywords, and usually you will have a name of a country, and then you have that you want to find information about forgery, maybe a forgery in cover can also be done. And you see, I will have 6 references for forgery, Mexico, and cover. And that will make your life a lot easier if you want to search something, if you want to have information and want to know what you can do. And it's very easy if you delete the search, then you will get everything else again. And there are 11,000 references. So that are a lot more than you want to have. Are there any people around that might like to see something that they are specifically looking for? Just trying to have a search live.
Yeah, Peter, I know the 11,000 entries also include my Oficina one. So if you can search for anything on that, so to show the power of this, because I will have a follow-up question later when we go to the Q&A.
Oficina. Well, oh, wrong name. There are 101 video recordings for my Oficina that show or have information on Argentina.
Right. And also the power that you bring to this tool. If you click on any of those, I think on the right-hand side, you have a direct link that you can basically go to it.
Yeah. If I don't know what will happen or if I do this.
It will.
Because it will open up the reference.
Yep.
It will open up the video.
This is one of the features that is really powerful, and eventually we will want to leverage from our website. We were struggling about what a meaningful index would be, but with the connectors that Zotero provides, definitely this is something that we can leverage and build upon, not only for my Oficina, but almost for everything that you have back end.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of journals that I am accessing as well. For instance, there are I got permission from Federico Gallegos to insert the El Salvador magazines, and they are directly accessible. I got permission from Michael Burks to include the Central American newsletter. I got permission from Mimi Morehouse to include the main sheet, which I still have not included because, yeah, there's just so much time that you can work on a project, and there are so many journals to do. There are a lot to do. I think that I still have about 15 journals that I have to index. But it will be powerful. What you also could do.
Peter, one question. This index is meant to be worldwide or only Americas or?
It can be worldwide, but I can't make it worldwide because it will be just including the references takes time.
Yeah.
And a lot of time, and the most time-consuming aspect is providing tags.
Yeah.
Because I want to I want to use as much tags as I can, and in the years that I'm working on it, it has been increasing.
Uh-huh.
And for instance, what I also didn't want but began doing this year, I also include auction catalogs for named auctions. And
Okay.
if possible, I will try to find a downloadable PDF for that specific.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
Well, here I have the Besançon collection, part 2. That's a Corinthula sale. And you see there is a URL, so you can download it. And there are a lot of older ones. For instance, the Caspari auction for Latin America. I have found a PDF for that specific auction, and you can download it as well. But you have to play with it to see what's going on and what you can do, because there is a lot there. Now I'm going to do something. One of the things you could also use to search for is what's called an ISSN. Not all journals have it, but quite a lot have. That's an international standard serial number, comparable to the international serial book number. And quite a lot of journals have this number. So you can see all the information I have from the American Philatelist. And this only includes references to articles about Latin America, the Middle East, pneumatic mail, and ATM. That's Frama. And I try to include as much Frama as I can, because Frama is a rather small collecting area. And there is one very nice book, if you don't have it, if you collect, this one. It's CITES special world catalog for automated market. You can download it. It provides more detail than any other book in the world. And it only shows you the Frama ATM stamps from the beginning until 1999. So the classics, they call it. There are a lot of things that you can do. And because you can sort things, you also can do. What you also can do is change the columns you see. Now you see call number, which is completely irrelevant in my database, because call number is the number that a book would have in a library. And I don't have books. So I say, oh, I don't want it, but maybe I want something else. This is by clicking on the right mouse. Maybe I want to see the publisher. And you can see that for some publications, you now see a publisher. It can also help you search, but the search is automatically done with all the fields that you see at the right. I hope that people now understand why I urge people to have a personalized installation, because you can do much more. You can also search for the American Bank Note Company. And you see there are 124 references that reference something on the American banknote company that you might want to know about. And I try to include the printers of specific sets as well. But that is a little bit more difficult because I'm not always sure which printer goes to which issue. That will end my first part, and then I will go to the second part, which is even more relevant to most people, I hope and think. Beginning of this year, Henry set up what's called the Zotero Philatelic repository. It is a Google Drive folder, and it was and is at the moment still a proof of concept. The ultimate goal would be to store all copyright-free digital books or journals for which we have gotten permission. And that's very important because in the last 2 or 3 years, 4 or 5 specialist study groups have disappeared, and their publication also have disappeared. You can only access them when you go to a library. In the Netherlands, we have one, but there are many countries in the world where there are none, where you cannot have access. This is a temporary option. The final goal would be to have a global digital philatelic repository. But Henry and I can store about 350 gigabytes of data. And I will include a lot more than I have, but I have to ask permission from certain journals. But the global digital philatelic repository should be a global open access option that not only people in America can have access, but also in Africa and Asia, so that all the collectors can share the same kind of information. And there is, at the moment, an explosion of journals that are placed online. And that's a good thing, but it is very hard to get an easy access to them, to have an easy download for them. And that's why Henry and I started the Zotero Philatelic repository. And I will now show you interactively some of the things that you can do and find. This will get you to the top level of the repository. And you can see that I have created maps for different parts of the world. I didn't have one for Middle and South America. I call it Latin America, because there are only a few countries that are not belonging to Latin America: Belize, Suriname, and the 2 Guianas, which one is French and the other British. They might be placed under the colonies within Europe. I will show you what you can expect to find. And I will go to Latin America. And you see that I have listed, I hope, all countries in Latin America. I'm not sure yet, but hopefully I have. And I will go to general, which means journals that are not specific to a country, but can have a more broad content. And yeah, I always make 2 different maps, one for books and one for journals. So if I now go to journals, you see that I have 3 journals: the Central American Newsletter, the Main Sheet, and the Seebecker. And here's where the fun begins for you. I have stored all the issues from the Central American Newsletter, from the first appearance in 1980 till the last one in 2000. And if you go to the right, you see you can download directly. And you can download any journal or any issue that you want. to your own computer. And I'm especially glad that I could get this one, a journal that was edited by Johan, the Seebecker. It only ran for 4 years, 4 volumes, but they are very hard to find. And here is where you can find them. And at the moment, it is just the beginning. You can go to the top levels of the maps. At the moment, I don't have all the information because this, as I said, is not a permanent solution. And there's one thing I can't do with this one. I will explain later. I also have a map that is worldwide. And that's very interesting for journals that are more globally oriented, like the Gibbons Monthly Journal. The Gibbons Monthly Journal appeared between, let's say, 1819 and 1913. And these are all the volumes that you can have. And you can download them. And I have named them in such a way that if you store them on your computer and you would sort them by name, that they will always be in the correct order. So no silly numberings or silly, hard to understand tags or names. Because a lot of sites store their volumes by different names and different issues. I also have stored books under this same name. And these, at the moment, are all books on forgeries, and they are classics. They all, except Koch, but most appeared before 1920. And as you can see, I have all the copies of the Erie Album Weeds forgeries books. If you go to eBay, you will pay $15 or $20 for the same PDF. So it can save you money as well. And I would advise just go and take a look and see what's going on and what you can do. There's one special map that isn't oriented to anything else. That is Morris Interactive Philatelic Index. I will store the newsletters that I create, but at regular intervals, I will also store backups of the dataset that I have created in Zotero. If something happens to me, then from the Zotero Philatelic backside, you can have this one. Oh, okay. It doesn't do what I want to. Okay. This one is a direct import for Zotero. The Zotero backup is called RDF. The others is are for other programs, but it will enable librarians to import it into other systems if they want to. So the data will not be lost, and I will create a backup every 3 months so that people in the future can have access to it as well, so it will not be lost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add more references. I will include all the rest of the My Oficina videos and also other videos. I will add the videos for the International Guatemala Collectors Society. And whenever I come across something that might be nice, then I will add it as well. My priority for adding references for journals is when a URL to a PDF is available. Henry has made the Peru Study Group available without a password, so you can download directly from the site. I have already linked up Transito and Transito 2, so that you can download it directly from the Zotero library. But I will also include the larger. I forgot the name of the Peru.
Filatelia peruana.
That one, yeah. And I will add it from the beginning to now. But that will also take time because there are a lot of issues that you have to go through, and not all are in the most easiest way to copy and paste. And I will be adding alternating that. So for instance, Middle East and then Latin America, then a more general one, and then a more specific other one. For instance, the Civil War study group. I will also include articles from those from that kind of journals. The Air Post Journal, I will also include. I already included a lot of the American Revenuer, but for the American Revenuer, I did not use the URLs, but I will ask them if it's okay to use it as well. And then it will go up. At the moment, about 3,000 references will have a URL, but it will increase, and I hope that it will be 40 to 50% of all the references that you can directly download a journal. But I'm still not quite clear about whether I would or should add exhibitions and collections. I got the Johan collection from Johan. It wasn't in a PDF. I placed it in a PDF, but it had 750 sheets of a collection, which provides a lot of information if you are searching for something. And you will not always find that in handbooks or any other things. That's still something I have to think about. And then besides books and journals, I would have exhibitions and collections to search for. I will also add more companies like Scata or the carrier companies. I will try to have more abstracts. I will also include more book reviews. Whenever I skim through a journal, whenever I encounter a reference that is relevant for the Middle East or Latin America, I will add it, and I will also add the book review or the link to the book review so that you know where you have to go. I will add more URLs. I will also add more auction catalogs. And again, do I add collections and exhibitions to Morris Interactive Philatelic Index? There are a lot around, too many even. The South American Society has an exhibition every year, and you can find 10 or 15 Latin America exhibitions, but then I have to ask permission whether to download the things that I have. Well, if we have the repository and the and the index, I want to have a direct link between the index and the repository, so that if a journal or a book is in the repository, it can also be accessed from the index. That you only search in the index what you want, and then you can click on the link and it will download it. At the moment, I'm not doing everything from the repository that Henry and I created, because it is a Google Drive and it gets you strange links. In general, I would like to have a repository that is able to create a link, a stable link, a stable URL, that I can create using the information I use in the databases itself. And for instance, that you have American Philatelist 2022, volume X, issue I, so that it always will sort correctly. It will sort correctly at the repository, but it will not sort correctly when I create the links from the repository. They are always those very strange kinds, Google Drive, and then a bunch of letters and numbers, and no information whatsoever. The index and the repository will help you with postal historical research. I also hope that it will help historical research. I have included several master and PhD theses on philately, and with the database, they could be expanded a lot. You don't find them in many countries, but in Spain and some Latin American countries, I have found PhD theses to be accepted in history departments. So you never know what's coming from those departments on postal routes, postal history, rates, information on war and the impact on the postal services. And then finally, ultimately, I hope to use AI using Morris Index's information base and extracting information from the repository. I have no idea what it could happen, what it could be, what it could mean. I might have to get more information on AI, but you might be able to have AI write articles from the index and the repository and cite from it as well. But that won't happen until a few years to come. Any questions, remarks, or suggestions?
Great presentation, Peter. On the last point that you touched on AI, I had a question. Does Zotero today provide any AI capabilities, any LLM that we can interface with?
As far as I know, no.
Okay.
And Zotero is something of a mystery to me. It is an open access database.
Yes.
There are a few others, but I have chosen Zotero for reasons that I didn't touch upon now. One of the things that I do, if I write an article, or what I'm also doing at the moment, I'm rewriting a handbook for Paraguay. And I am including all the references that Johan didn't have on his website. So I have some a reference in the database, and I can include it in a Word document or in a Google Doc document or in LibreOffice document.
Sure.
And if you use Google Docs, then you could have two people living far apart, working on the same document together.
Mm-hmm.
So if you write a book with somebody else, the one is in LA and the other in New York, or maybe one is in China and the other is in Lima, Peru, then you can use Google Docs to work on the same document, not at the same time, but on the same document.
Yep. Yeah, there are lots of free capabilities that we can leverage. And getting back into AI, because there are two elements there. One is the central repository brings a lot of opportunities for not necessarily directly with Zotero, but with other tools that are freely available right now or widely available, ChatGPT or any of those, Gemini, that basically can point to a specific locations, in this case, a blob kind of repository like Google Drive, because you're right, it's very cumbersome to deal with the many URLs and the way that the thing gets displayed. But having that agnostic layer with AI that we can interface directly with the content beyond what the index will provide, probably is going to bring a lot of those capabilities. Nevertheless, the Zotero index is still a great resource because it could also be exposed to websites and things like that. And even though you don't have the full-blown install, you can get some of the relevant information that way, I think. Have you played a little bit with those connector capabilities that Zotero provides?
All the time.
Okay. And can you query from a web form or something like that?
Yeah, sometimes. And when I started searching for literature, I started searching in worldcup.org, Amazon, Google Books, and if I found a hit, and then I would look for what's the best one. Then I could say import this one directly into Zotero. And when you have worldcut.org, which is the overall library for oral libraries in the world, or if you have Google Books, then they convert very well to Zotero. Amazon and AB Books sometimes mess up. Then they say it is a web page instead of a book.
Uh-huh.
And then you have to manually copy and paste information so that it is correct. Because for a web page, they will not incorporate, for instance, what I always try to incorporate if it exists, the ISBN number. Because sometimes you might want to see whether or not you can have an ISBN and find it somewhere. It's easier to find than just by the title of the book alone.
Got it. Thank you. I see Igor has his hand raised. Igor.
Peter, thank you for the presentation. I understand that Zotero is pretty much a database for referencing
Yes.
all of the books and journals and articles that we have. But at the same time, you can also link that back to cloud service, for example, as you use Google Drive. In my case, I have my own Philatelic library, let's say, comprised of a lot of PDF articles, but at the same time, I also have the physical book. So
Yeah.
I can include both of them, and at the same time, I can still link those to my PDFs. What I'm also getting here is how can we support you? So share the documents that we have, or how we can improve your repository, so at the same time everybody gets access to it.
Yeah, you can help by providing journals and information, but at the moment that has to go through either me or Henry, because we have both taken 200 gigabyte of Google Drive. You normally have only 15, and if you have mail if you have Gmail and some other things going around, then 15 gigabyte is gone very quickly. Very quickly. At the moment, I have about 250 gigabytes of data on my computer alone. For instance, what some journals don't know is I have all the issues of the London Philatelist. I have all the issues of the Collectors Club, and I have all the issues of the American Philatelist. And there are a lot of classic books that are freely available. One of the sources that you might want to go to is the Crawford Library of the British Library. There are a lot of publications that are downloadable for free. The only thing is they give it a number. And if you download 10 of those, you don't have any idea of what you have downloaded, because it will be a mess. It's a number of 10 digits, and if you have 10 or 12 of files with those names, then it will be hard. That's one of the reasons why I convert the PDFs that I have with the name of the author, the year of publication, and the title of the book, so that I can keep track of everything that I do. And that's also how I will store them on in the repository, that you can have a meaningful understanding of what you're trying to download. And if you download something, it will get that same name as well on your computer. So you don't have to change anything. It will be, you can understand very quickly what's going on.
Got it. Thank you. Thanks, Peter.
There's one warning. If you're going to use Zotero yourself, you can also include the PDFs, the PDFs that you have into Zotero. But Zotero is free if you use up to 300 megabytes of data. My database is 15 megabyte. The 11,000 that I have is 15 megabytes, so that's not too bad. But if you go over 300 megabyte, you have to pay for storage at Zotero. And their top level is 6 gigabyte of information inside Zotero. When you store PDFs, you will very soon reach that limit. And at first I didn't look very carefully, and I downloaded Amazon books from Amazon and kind of like those references. And within a week, I was close to the limit of 300 megabytes. So I deleted all those links links from Google Books, Amazon Books, Abe Books. So I deleted those. And I don't include the PDFs in Zotero, because if I would do that, it will be a few days, and I would have to pay $199 a year. And still, I don't know what the limit is for Zotero, because I say theoretically, you could store any reference for any collecting area in the world. But I think that if you have 500,000 records in Zotero, there will be a problem.
Yeah.
Maybe you will reach your limit, but I think that Zotero will contact you. Why in the hell do you have 500,000 records? Because they think that you have it for personal use and for the use between scientific study groups, which normally consist of 20 or 30 people. And they share a few hundred references.
And that brings a very good point, which is the future of this. You touch in a couple of items as a proof of concept, but to make it sustainable over time, need to be a group of people that really are the data stewards and also keep maintaining the repositories. There are new technologies and capabilities that come along, and I'm pretty sure at some point we are going to have that agentic type of interface, that we have something talking to something on behalf of AI. There are a lot of those things that are occurring right now. But the bottom line is, whatever we can do right now in order to expand those repositories is what is going to make easy to be consumable in the future. Similar to what we do in the Oficina, we create content and still struggling with a good index. Zotero seems to be that index for the time being, and way more than that, because just the entries for Mi Oficina are maybe 5% of everything what Peter has there. So there is a lot of potential, but hopefully from the people who listen to this kind of talks in YouTube, there are a few computer enthusiasts or data science enthusiasts that can really, say I'm here and can help us, because there are things that can be built with new technologies that probably we are not really looking at closer right now. But that would be a great way to get to a lot more people. And one more thing, Peter, you about the interfaces. I had Zotero installed on Linux and on other machines. I believe there are versions for others. I don't know how how they compare to the Windows version in the sense of features, but that would be something to take a look at that, because maybe that's going to make it even more accessible to a lot of folks.
Yeah, I only have a Windows computer.
Yeah.
But I could ask my son to install, I think, a Linux version.
Yeah.
But I have to be kind to him and ask him friendly.
I know, and even is for mobile. I see on the page. I'm at Zotero.org, and they talk here available for Mac, Windows, Linux, and iOS. But I know that somewhere I think I saw a version for Android. So it's really getting to everyone, and that's a good thing.
I can show you the Android version.
Oh, here you go. You have the Android. Yeah, so it's accessible, and that's the great thing. It can be accessed from anywhere, and that makes it so simple.
Yeah, what I really wanted to achieve, I have contacted the librarians of the Royal and the American Philatelist and the Smithsonian. I hope that they would be interested, because what some of them are doing is they are digitizing journals that already have been digitized, or digitizing books that already have been digitizing. If you have a central storage, then you could see, hey, we already have that. We don't have to do it.
Exactly.
And I had hoped that the American Philatelist and the Royal, and especially the Smithsonian, because it is a government institution, would have jumped on board, so that we can have their help to create something of a global digital philatelic repository.
Yeah. Well, there is work to do, but the good news is that this is not starting from scratch, but it's starting from 11,000 records already, which is a lot more than what you can find anywhere. So that's a fantastic thing.
Yeah, I created a bibliography today. It is 1,000 pages.
Just the bibliography, yes, a lot.
May I ask a few questions here?
Go for it.
Yeah. First of all, I just subscribed. I just synced with your library, joined and subscribed. You have something like 11,000 entries, correct?
Yeah.
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 One question: when I sync, all this material is not downloaded to my machine, correct?
It is downloaded to your machine. If you have synchronize, if you have the personal installation and you see a group library, it is downloaded, I think, to your computer. And the reason is for it to be able to search in such a complex environment, that would not be possible in the Zotero online, because they will have probably hundreds of millions of records. Okay. And searching through the keywords would be problematic.
Yeah, okay. Let me see whether that's not going to give me any problems with space then. How much?
No, it won't. Do you know how big it is?
No.
Maximally 15 megabytes.
Oh, that's handleable. Okay.
Yeah.
The actual files stay where they are at. It's just the index and the metadata for all that information.
Ah, okay. So it's not downloading the actual documents.
No, you will need a few terabytes for
exactly.
that.
That's why I was wondering.
No,
it's only downloading metadata.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
But in the metadata that I do have URLs to PDFs.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I was just a little bit afraid that I would getting
no.
a complete overflow of my machine.
As I explained to Igor, I don't include the PDFs because then it would explode very quickly, and it would be too big.
Yeah. Is there a possibility, for instance, to limit the synchronization only, for instance, to Peruvian literature?
No.
Okay. I was just wondering. Okay then. I'm already set up. Thank you very much. Very interesting.
You have a personalized installation and and you can see my group information.
Yeah. And I joined.
Enjoy. Try to search something. I didn't have the Perona Philatelica already included.
Sorry?
I didn't have the Peruvian major journal included.
I don't-
Filatelia Peruana.
Don't worry, I have all the PDFs because I digitalized it.
Yeah, but sometimes you digitalized it for the website?
For the website of the Peruvian study groups.
Okay. I downloaded them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because Henry did away with the password and the username, I can now directly link to to the website.
Yeah. But that website is not longer being maintained, in the sense it's not being actual.
It will be whenever I find the time, but there is what we have there is more I have almost 3 times the amount of information that is in it. I need to find 3 times the available time in order to update it. So
okay.
That's a
Okay.
problem for everyone.
Yeah,
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Great.
If you need any help, please let me know.
Well, if you have suggestions, just let me know.
Yeah.
And if you think you can help me with something, also let me know, because I might not understand what I don't know.
How's your Spanish?
When I read it, I can ungarble it.
Yeah.
I can understand it.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I don't read it. I look at the letters.
Yeah. Okay.
And if it's too problematic, then I throw it into Google Translate and also get a wrong translation anyway. But
yeah. And just to understand, what do I need the Zotero connector for?
Well, now you are connected to my group information. But if you also could make your own library as a personal library in the part above. And if you encounter a publication in wordcat.org, for instance, if you want to include historical books or books in history, I'm not quite sure whether I want to include those as well. I have included some, but it would be very problematic to include everything that's out there. Just on the Chaco War, there are about 100 publications on the website of the government of Paraguay, and that same holds for many other countries in South America where you can have information. So yeah, maybe sometimes if there is a big war going on between countries, like the Chaco War or the Pacific War or the Triple Entente War, then I might include a few references, but not all. But if you want to write an article, you can use Zotero and the information I have together with your information to write a new article.
Yeah.
If you have Word, it is not too difficult. You need to have the Word connector, and I can show you what it is.
What I mean is, for in order to browse your group data, you don't need a connector.
No.
That's what I wanted to know.
All right. Any other question or comment that we want to close with? Awesome. Well, Peter, thank you for doing this, not only for the stuff that we can leverage here in Mi Oficina, but for everything else. That's a worldwide database of information, way more than what we can consume. But unfortunately, as you said, many of these sites are disappearing, and with that disappears the information. So if we can create that archive that will persist over time, and we have an index that will reference to that, hopefully there is going to be continuity in the way that research can be done for folks that don't have the physical copy. So thank you for doing that. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great. Y el día de mañana